Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jai Shri Shri Paramakartai Gaurachandra Ki Jai. So I'd like to request everyone to please stand and we can all go forward towards the altar of Shri Shri Gauranitai and for the Artik ceremony.
Vishnupadaya Krishna Pristaya Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swami
Vishnupadaya Krishna Pristaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste
Saraswati
Gauravani Pracharini Nirvishisha Shunyavani Pashachari Shatarini
Kiva Jaya Jaya Gauda Chande Adati Gashoma Janavita Tabane Jagamanaloba
Jaya Jaya Gaura Chande Shobha Janavi Tatavani Jagamanalova
Dakinita
Kini Tachan Advaita Shrini Vasa Chatradhara
Ivavashi
Gauracha Ratna Simhasane
Arati Karena Hari Devagane
Arati Korena Brahma Adi Devagane
Narare Adi Kore Chamadathulaya
Narahari Adi Kore
Jayamo Bundavashu Gosarigaya
Sanjaya Mukundavashu Gosharigaya
Shankha
Shankha bhaje Gandha bhaje Bhaji kartala Madhura mridhanga bhaje Paramarasala Baho Koti Chandra Jine Vadhana Ujala Galadhishe Phanamala Kore Jalamala Shri Vashuka Narada Premekaraga Bhakti Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Gaura
Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta
Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta
Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta
Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta
Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaur
Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta
Hare
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Jaya Parama Karuna Jaya Nitai Gora Chandra, Jaya Parama Karuna Jaya Nitai Gora Chandra,
Jaya Parama Karuna Jaya Nitai Gora Chandra, Jaya Parama Karuna Jaya Nitai Gora Chandra,
Jaya Parama Karuna Jaya Nitai Gora Chandra, Parama Karuna Jaya Nitai Gora Chandra,
Jaya Parama Karuna Jaya Nitai Gora Chandra, Jaya Parama Karuna Jaya Nitai Gora Chandra.
Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada.
Jaya Jaya Nitai Gora Hare Bol, Hare Bol, Hare Bol, Hare Bol.
Jai Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Jai Gaur Hari Bol, Jai
Nitai
Gaur.
Gora Hare Bol, Hare Bol, Hare Bol, Hare Bol.
Shri Shri Parama Karuna Jai Gaura Chandra Ki, Shri Prabhupada Ki.
Jai Vishnupad Paramhamsa Parivajakacharyya Shtatar Sadashishimad. His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. ISKCON Vividi Founderacharya His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jai Vishnupad Paramhamsa Parivajakacharyya Shtatar Sadashishimad. His Divine Grace Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Prabhupada Thakur Ki Jai. Ananta Kori Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासरि गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गोप गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंद राधा कुंद गिर गोवर्धन की जय। श्री मथुरा वृंदावन धाम की जय। श्री वैष्णव श्री जगन्नाथ पुरी धाम की जय। श्री नवद्वीप मायापुर धाम की जय। गंगा माया जमुना माया की जय। भक्ति देवी की जय। श्रीमती वृंद देवी तुलसी देवी महारानी की जय। शुक्रार हरिनाम संकीर्तन की जय। श्री परम कांताय गौरचंद्र की जय। Srila Prabhupada's 125th appearance anniversary festival ki jai. Samaveda Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Nitai Gaur Premanandi. All glories to the assembly of devotees. All glories to the assembly of devotees. All glories to the assembly of devotees. All glories to Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Namaste Narashringaya.
Namaste Narashingaya. Hare Krishna. So everyone can please take your seats, and we encourage you to please come forward as much as possible. Please occupy the seats from the front rows going back. So the front row is in front of Srila Prabhupada. It's not the usual style that we are accustomed to. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So Hare Krishna to each and every one of you. We first of all would like to take this opportunity in welcoming all the devotees to our second session here at Hare Krishna Study Center, our second evening of Prabhupada Katha, or Prabhupada Night, in honor of celebrating part of the festival, celebrating Srila Prabhupada's 125th anniversary festival. So we especially want to welcome all the devotees who are joining here physically, and also for the many devotees who are present on our virtual platforms, whether you're in YouTube, Zoom, Facebook. We thank you very much for joining in this evening. So before we actually begin, we'd like to just give you a brief highlight of what is upcoming, and for those of you who missed out last night as well, we want to highlight a few of the happenings from last evening and see if that will inspire us to don't miss out any other of the upcoming days. So last evening we had a wonderful session. We would have heard from a few of Srila Prabhupada's disciples, His Grace Shisha Prabhu, His Grace Mahatma Prabhu, and His Holiness Guru Prasad Swami Maharaj. There was also a special video presentation about Srila Prabhupada, Kirtan, Guru Puja, Artik worship to Srila Prabhupada, and so forth. So that was last evening. So tonight we'll be in the same mood, pretty much the same activities. And for tomorrow on Sunday, there'll be a special program where different personalities from the government, from the business community, the academic community, will be given an opportunity to appreciate Srila Prabhupada. And on Monday we'll be having Grand Janmastami Festival. Main program will be from 4:30 p.m. and it will go, as you know, Janmastami program goes midnight, but the main program, the main celebration is from 4:30 p.m. to 8 p.m. And then on Tuesday we will have Srila Prabhupada's Vyasa Puja, and the program on that day will begin 9:30 a.m., 9:30 in the morning. So on that day, of course, you'll be having special guests on our program. Senior disciples of Srila Prabhupada will be joining us, such as Satsrup Maharaj, His Holiness Satsrup Das Goswami Maharaj, Srila Virbahu Maharaj, and senior devotees in our community locally here. So these are some upcoming highlights of what we can look forward for. But nevertheless, this evening as we are here, we like to begin this evening by Mangalacharna prayers. So we'd like to request Har Kirtan Prabhu to lead us into Srila Prabhupada's Mangalacharna.
Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Juta Padakamalang Shri Gurum Vaishnavangshan Shri Rupam Sakrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tvam Sajivam Sataitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Padan Sagana Lalita Sri Vishakanitam Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Sivasadi Gaurata Vrinda
Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki. Srila Prabhupada 125th anniversary ki. So, thank you all very much to join us this evening. Those of you, once again, who are joining us on Zoom, Facebook or YouTube, those of us who are here physically, and those of you who are here physically but wrong and about, trying to put the pieces together. Yet for tomorrow's celebration, then Janmastami on Monday, and then Vyasa Puja, Vyasa Puja on Tuesday morning, which will be the actual 125th anniversary. So as many of us who are here, and probably some of you don't know that the devotees here at Hare Krishna Study Center, the leaders and a team of devotees would have took it upon himself to produce a Vyasa Puja book that will be offered on Vyasa Puja Day to Srila Prabhupada for the first time here at Hare Krishna Study Center. We would have took this opportunity to make such an offering. And we had many devotees who would have participated, international devotees, senior devotees, or GBC, and visiting sannyasis, and different friends and well-wishers. Likewise, we also had the good fortune of getting Her Grace Mother Jailalita from Trinidad, the Dharmapatni of His Grace Rajarshi Prabhu, to do the meaning of Vyasa Puja for us. So Mother Jailalita, originally from London, joined the Hare Krishna movement many years ago. Then, I can't remember how she ended up in the Caribbean. I think during the time of, then was Agrani Swami, Agrani Prabhu. And then finally she settled down in Trinidad, got married to Rajarshi Prabhu, bring forth two wonderful children, very exemplary in her practice and dedication and Krishna consciousness, and especially she is known in these areas for her kirtan. For many years we didn't have her in Guyana, but still she is known for her kirtan. But now we'll be hearing a different side of Mataji, that along with kirtan, the philosophical understanding is there also. So without any further ado, we would like to ask Her Grace Mother Jailalita to please read the meaning of Vyasa Puja, Mataji, as you would have wrote for the HKSC Vyasa Puja book. So over to
Hare
Her Grace.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Hare Krishna. Yes, Mataji.
Okay. Jai. Omagyanatimarandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. In the revealed scriptures, it is declared that the spiritual master should be worshipped like the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and this injunction is obeyed by pure devotees of the Lord. The spiritual master is the most confidential servant of the Lord. Thus let us offer our respectful obeisances unto the lotus feet of our spiritual master. This is the 7th verse of the Sri Guruvashtakam. Sri Vyasa Puja is an occasion for glorifying and worshipping the spiritual master as the personality of Godhead. Why do we do this? What is the meaning of this festival? The answers to these questions come to us through a chain of teachers or gurus that stretches back to God himself and which is called the disciplic succession or parampara. Our own endeavors to know God and understand the purpose of our lives and the universe are constantly frustrated because we are subject to the four defects of the mundane world: the propensity to commit mistakes, to be subject to illusion, to have imperfect senses, and to cheat. Therefore, we must receive knowledge from above, from God himself. Our spiritual master gives us that knowledge. It was passed down to him from his own spiritual master, who had received this knowledge from his spiritual master, and so on, all the way back to the Supreme Lord himself. In this way, it comes to us unchanged and unadulterated, just as a ripe mango, when carefully handed down through a tree from person to person, can reach the ground in an unblemished condition. His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, is one such spiritual master in this disciplic line. Almost 100 years ago, in 1922, on a rooftop in Ultadanga, Calcutta, a young Srila Prabhupada, then known as Abhay Charan, had his first meeting with his spiritual master. Immediately on seeing and the friend who had taken him there, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta challenged them. You are educated young men. Why don't you preach Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's message throughout the whole world? Srila Prabhupada at once accepted Srila Bhaktisiddhanta as his spiritual master, eventually taking initiation from him in 1933, and he took that instruction to heart. Throughout his life, he nurtured the desire to fulfill his spiritual master's order until eventually he was able to realize it in the wonderful way that we have all benefited from. The translation of the 7th verse of the Guru Vashtakam quoted at the beginning of this piece appears in a homage that Srila Prabhupada offered to his own spiritual master in 1935 on the occasion of the latter's Vyasa Puja, along with a scholarly and devotional essay on the glories of his spiritual master and the nature of and need for a bona fide guru. Prabhupada had penned a poem, Adore, Adore Ye All. It contained a stanza that caught Srila Bhaktisiddhanta's eye. Absolute is sentient, thou hast proved. Impersonal calamity, thou hast moved. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta was so pleased with the shastric and philosophical nature of Srila Prabhupada's writing that he instructed the editor of the Gaudiya Math publication, The Harmonist, whatever he writes, publish it. Because of his implicit faith and devotion, Srila Prabhupada had fully understood his spiritual master's mission, and Srila Bhaktisiddhanta could see this. In the service of his spiritual master, Prabhupada wrote and preached determinedly and prolifically, to the extent that he left the devotional comfort of the holy Dham at an advanced age and traveled all over the world so that we might have the opportunity to hear the messages that he was bringing directly from the Lord through the medium of the parampara, and thus learn the practical process of devotional service, bhakti yoga. In the material world, the Satchidananda living entity experiences the temporary and miserable nature of a life lived separate from God and suffers continuously in the cycle of birth and death, in the blazing forest fire of material existence, and he is always looking for relief from this situation. Throughout the Jiva's sojourn in this world, the Supreme Lord oversees his activities. The Upanishads describe this as being like two birds in a tree. The tree is the material body, and one bird is the Jivatma, who is trying to enjoy the fruits of that tree. The second bird is Paramatma, and he is the witness to the first bird, who is fully engrossed with anxiety and moroseness as the enjoyer of the fruits of the tree. If somehow or other the Jiva bird turns his face to his friend, who is the Lord and knows his glories, at once the suffering bird becomes free from all anxieties. This is from the Mundaka Upanishad and the Shvetashvatara Upanishad. Knowing the glories of the Lord, then, is the secret to being freed from material bondage. Janma karma cha me divyam evam eva vetitattvataha jakvadeham punar janma naiti mam eti sarjuna. One who knows the transcendental nature of my appearance and activities does not, upon leaving the body, take his birth again in this material world, but attains my eternal abode, O Arjuna. In Bhagavad Gita 15:15, Lord Krishna declares, by all the Vedas I am to be known. Indeed, I am the compiler of Vedanta, and I am the knower of the Vedas. The Vedas are like a manual of instruction for how to live in this world and how to become free from it. And as Krishna explains here, he has kindly provided them for our guidance. In previous ages, the Vedas would be taught by the Guru to the disciple, and those teachings would be remembered and passed on in turn to the next generation. However, we find ourselves in the last of the 4 ages, Kali Yuga, an age that is characterized as the age of iron. And the qualities of those who are born in this age are described in Srimad Bhagavatam. Men almost always have but short lives. They are quarrelsome, lazy, misguided, unlucky, and above all, always disturbed. The practice of spiritual principles is very difficult for the people of this age, and remembering and understanding the Vedas in all their complexity is nigh on impossible for the common man. Some 5,000 years ago, Srila Vyasadeva, the literary incarnation of the Lord, foresaw this. The great sage, who was fully equipped in knowledge, could see through his transcendental vision the deterioration of everything material due to the influence of the age. Srimad Bhagavatam 1:4-18. So he set about presenting the Vedas in a form that people would be able to assimilate. He first compiled the Vedas, then the Puranas, Mahabharata, and Vedanta Sutra. Then Vyasadeva wrote the cream of all the Vedic teachings, Srimad Bhagavat Purana, the mature fruit of the desire tree of Vedic literatures, which wonderfully broadcasts the sublime and spotless glories of the personality of Godhead. It is full of transcendental words directed toward bringing about a revolution in the impious lives of this world's misdirected civilization. Thus, by the mercy of Srila Vyasadeva, we have a perfect handbook, not just for attaining liberation, but for developing love of God, pure love of God. In order to understand that handbook, we require the help of Guru, just as a pupil studies his books with the aid of his teacher. The Guru or teacher manifests in different ways. The Lord himself appears within the heart as Chaitya Guru, as that witness bird in the tree, and he directs the wandering of the living entity, birth after birth. Srila Prabhupada said, so Guru is also incarnation of God, mercy incarnation of God. Guru means that God is within you, Chaitya Guru, the Guru or the spiritual master within your heart. Ishvara Sarvabhutanam Hrideshe Arjuna Tishtati. So this Paramatma is also incarnation of God. When Paramatma sees that the living entity has developed a sincere desire to know him, then he manifests himself externally as Guru. Srila Prabhupada again. The physical spiritual master is God's mercy. If God sees that you are sincere, he will give you a spiritual master who can give you protection. He will help you from within and without. Without in the physical form of spiritual master, and within as the spiritual master within the heart. The most merciful Srila Vyasadeva is the original Guru. The spiritual master is his representative, because the Guru faithfully repeats the teachings of Srila Vyasadeva as his representative. We celebrate his appearance day as Vyasa Puja. But the spiritual master does not only repeat the words of the scriptures, he also lives those words and teaches his disciples to live them as well. He is Acharya, one who teaches by example. He is the living representative of the personality of Godhead, and therefore we worship him as the personality of Servitor Godhead. not as God himself, but as good as God, because he delivers God to us and us to God. In order to benefit from the association of the spiritual master, we must approach him in a humble and submissive manner. Tadvidhi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya upadekshanti te jnanam jnaninas tattvadarshinaha. Just try to learn the truth by approaching a spiritual master, inquire from him submissively, and render service unto him. The self-realized souls can impart knowledge unto you because they have seen the truth. Srila Prabhupada himself taught us the mood of the disciple in his complete devotion to his own spiritual master. Although he achieved so much in his mission of spreading Krishna consciousness, he always considered himself to be merely an insignificant servant and gave credit to Srila Bhaktisiddhanta. Srila Prabhupada quote again, "So somehow or other it has begun, the blessings of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. As he wanted me, he desired me. So because he desired I am not very expert or educated or nothing extraordinary. But only thing is that I believed in his word. That is, you can say that is my qualification. I believed cent% in his word. So whatever success is there, it is just due to my firm faith in his instruction. So I am trying to follow, and by his grace, you are helping me." The perfection of the disciple is to follow in the footsteps of the Acharya. Srila Prabhupada left us a mission to continue the work he had begun with the society he had created. And the success of our lives is if we can emulate his mood of hearing from his spiritual master and serving him with dedication. 125 years ago, Srila Prabhupada appeared in this world. So much more could be said about him, how powerfully he preached the message of Lord Chaitanya, the depth of his compassion and his love, the eruditeness of his scholarship, and how he won over people of all backgrounds to the cause of devotional service to the Supreme Lord. But time does not allow. The Vyasa Puja celebration comes around once a year on the appearance day of our spiritual master. On this day we worship him with all the opulence we can muster, offering flowers and garlands, sumptuous foodstuffs, arati, prayers and glorification. But the mood of Vyasa Puja, of gratitude and veneration, is one we should adopt every day. For every day we can rededicate our lives to the service of Srila Vyasadev's dear representative and remember his glories. Samsaradava nalalidha loka, pranaya karunya ghanaganatvam, praptasya kalyana gunarnavasya, vande guru Sri Charanaravindam. The spiritual master is receiving benediction from the ocean of mercy. Just as a cloud pours water on a forest fire to extinguish it, so the spiritual master delivers the materially afflicted world by extinguishing the blazing fire of material existence. I offer my respectful obeisances unto the lotus feet of such a spiritual master, who is an ocean of auspicious qualities. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai. So let's put our hands together for our great Jai Lalita Mataji. Hari Bol, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Thank you very much, Jai Lalita Mataji, for that offering in the form of a very deep meaning of Vyasa Puja. So that is so important for each and every one of us as we are celebrating the Vyasa Puja of Srila Prabhupada. It is so important for us to understand the mood and what is in it for me, how it relates to me as a disciple or trying to be a disciple in Srila Prabhupada's ISKCON. So at this point in time, we will continue with a short video presentation. So this is a video, it's an excerpt from one of Srila Prabhupada's lecture, where Srila Prabhupada expresses the importance of chanting the holy names, chanting the Hare Krishna mantra. So Srila Prabhupada would have given thousands of lectures, throughout the world, throughout the different continents, speaking to all levels and classes of persons. So nevertheless, we're going to hear a short presentation from one of his lectures. So over to Hare Kirtan.
Vasudevaya. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Juta Padakamalam
अथापि ते देव पदाम्बुजत्वं प्रसादलेशानुगृहीत एव हि जानाति तत्त्वं न चान्ययि कोऽपि चिरं विचिन्त. Those who are favored by the causeless mercy of Krishna, they can understand Krishna. Others, Nachanayi kopi chiranga vichinna. Chiranga means for a long time, for many years. If they speculate only what is God or what is Krishna, that process will not help us. There are many Vedic verses like that. Atasya Krishna namadi na bhaved graham indriyai sevan mukhehi jivhado sameva spuratada. Krishna, his name, his fame, his attributes, his activities. Sri Krishna namadi na bhaved. Namadi means beginning from the holy name. So if we keep ourselves on the material platform, then for 1,000 years we may chant. It will be difficult. That is called Namapara. Of course, holy name is so powerful that even by chanting with offense, gradually he becomes pure. Therefore we should not give up chanting. Any circumstances, we should go on chanting Hare Krishna. But the warning is that if we keep us on the material platform, then it will be not possible to understand Krishna, his holy name, his attribute, his form, his activities. It will not. So, the process is bhakti. And when you come to the platform of understanding Krishna, then immediately you become fit for being transferred to the spiritual world. That is Krishna said also in the Bhagavad Gita, Takta deham punarjanma naiti mami.
Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna. So that was Srila Prabhupada on chanting. So now we'd like to introduce one of our very special presentation for this evening. So I would like to take this opportunity in, first of all, inviting and also welcoming His Holiness Bhakti Mark Swami Maharaj, famous and commonly known as the walk-in monk. So, His Holiness Bhakti Mark Swami Maharaj ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So Maharaj, for many of us, he is well known, especially in the Caribbean, here in Guyana, Trinidad, Suriname, because he visits annually. But nevertheless, for those of you who are here, who are joining in and may not be familiar with Maharaj, I would just like to share a brief introduction of His Holiness Bhakti Mark Swami. So Maharaj would have met the devotees firstly in Toronto in his college days at the campus, and he was later initiated by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada in the year 1973. His Holiness would have served in many different capacities in ISKCON, such as Bhakta leader, the Sankirtan leader, director of devotional plays, temple president for ISKCON Toronto Temple, in the year 1984, Maharaj would have accepted the sannyas order, and he is known as the walking monk because he would have trekked across Canada at least 4 times, if I remember correctly. He would have also walked across many other countries, such as the Fiji Islands, Guyana, Trinidad, etc. And just a few years ago, when was ISKCON's 50th anniversary in 2016, he would have taken up the service of walking from New York City to San Francisco. Quite a huge journey, but all done as an offering to Srila Prabhupada and to our Hare Krishna movement. So he also serves as a GBC member, a GBC representative for our society. He assumed GBC duties from the year 2000s, the early 2000s, and he is the GBC for Canada and Cuba. And he also serves as parts of 2 committees within ISKCON Ministries, ISKCON Constitution and also the Vande Creative Arts. So let us all welcome Maharaj. He has been visiting us, the Caribbean, for many, many years. Hari Bol! Hari Bol! Hari Bol! Hare Krishna Maharaj, we hope you can hear us. Over to you.
I can hear you. I hope you can hear me.
Yes, Maharaj, we can hear you.
Am I heard? Okay, fantastic. Thank you. I would like to start off with a poem. It's called Swami from India. There was a wise old Swami from India who very much wanted to be in America. He was warned that he was too old and that America was much too cold. But he was determined to go to the land of milk, honey, and snow. With a firm grip on his cane, he walked up a ship's ramp and lane, and then sailed across the great sea with a plan in mind, you'll see. But a storm made the waves so high, the kind that could cause one to die. The Swami was dizzy, problems with the heart. His whole dream looked as if to fall apart. But then the ocean became so calm, the Swami could now chant the name Ram. The ship docked at the city of fashion, which never sleeps in its mode of passion. The Swami came to the West with a gift, a visitor on a different kind of shift. Some people were giving him the looks when he landed with a trunk full of books. India was a place that gave silks, spice, and tea. No one knew anything about something called bhakti. The Swami said, we all have it within. It goes deeper and beyond our very skin. It was something we lost, but can be found. A treasure not on the surface of the ground. The Swami's mission grew. He had many a student. They learned to be sensitive and prudent. The Swami then left the world behind, hoping that the world would be more kind. Thank you very much. We are honoring Srila Prabhupada at this time of what we call Vyasa Puja, honoring the Guru, and in particular, the Guru who set the whole Hare Krishna mission in motion. He landed here 125 years ago, so it's an anniversary, you can say, and so time for celebration. And people always celebrate something, someone, some event, some occurrence. And so in the Vaishnava tradition or culture of Bhakti Yoga, we do the same. We honor events, such as when Prabhupada first came to America, and then that spanned out to other parts of the world. We celebrate his birthday. We celebrate his passing, which there's no difference between his coming and going from this world. Because there's no difference in the sense that whatever he has to say, that is his life force. And that is what keeps many of us ticking and living and moving on. My first experience of meeting Prabhupada was in Atlanta, Georgia, where people talk with a southern drawl. Atlanta, Georgia. Okay. And what's so special about that place? Well, there was a big civil war there at one time in the 1800s. People were in disagreement on certain policies, especially to do with racial tension and the bodily concept of life. So Srila Prabhupada came to Atlanta, that was 1975 in February. That was his first trip there, to simply remind us that we need not get entangled in the skin disease, the bodily identification, but to identify more as a spirit instead of the body. That's what he taught. I was so impressed with him. I had heard him on lecture tapes. I had seen film footage of him. I had heard so many devotees talking about him, and endless pictures which were found in the monthly Back to Godhead magazine. And I had this impression of a very powerful person, and big and magnanimous in every way. So that he was. When I saw him, I thought, oh my God, he's such a small person. He's 5 feet 3 inches or something like that. But his voice was strong, his message was profound. And this was at the time when it was his guru's birthday. Yeah, and so Prabhupada enacted the Arti ceremony one morning, and with the traditional tali and the diya, which is with the lamps, the lamps, and with the incense and the water and so on like that. Prabhupada was offering the arti to a picture of his Guru Maharaj, which was placed on the high seat called the Vyasa Sun. During that weekend of his stay there, he also taught us a new song, Parama Karuna, Bahudvijana, Nitai Gaura Chandra. It's a song about two merciful personalities, Gaura and Nitai, or commonly known as Chaitanya and Nityananda, who were very active in the world in medieval times in India. They were part of a renaissance, part of a change. And so similarly, Srila Prabhupada had come here to introduce a change. He saw that people in America were not paying enough attention to their spiritual life. And so he made a remark in Butler, Pennsylvania, the place where he spent 1 month shortly after his arrival to the USA. And he said to the newspaper, the Butler Eagle, it's called, said, if Americans would pay a little more attention to their spiritual life, they would be happier. So Prabhupada came here to start a happy revolution. Mind you, people are always happy. When it's the weekend, most people are a little tipsy. They go for a little entertainment, they go for a little drinking, and all those things that make people so light, but not necessarily so bright. And Prabhupada's idea, his view on peacefulness and happiness was a different take, a different approach. His idea is that let's get to the soul, let's get to the heart of the matter, and not deal so much with externals. The tantalizing or the stimulation of externals is not very gratifying, it's not very satisfying. So Prabhupada taught a new way of being, a new way of being happy. So what did we do? And we did that there in Atlanta. We were drumming, and he also picked up a drum, which he rarely did in 75. And he taught us this song. So, and he's explaining, this is happiness. Singing, dancing, for Krishna, drumming for Krishna, and then eating prasadam for Krishna. All those things. Everything centered around the Supreme Personality of God. That was what Prabhupada brought to us as a revolutionary concept. So some people could say, we already know that. No. This place, Georgia, it's inhabited by people who believe in Jesus. So we already know about the biblical teachings, okay? And so granted, that's truthful. And yet, Prabhupada felt more had to be explained. The application of the truth was weak. And so he was simply reminding people, Americans, and basically people all over the world, the things that everyone needed to hear. One of my favorite quotes from Prabhupada was where he said, I've come here to tell you what you have forgotten. So in other words, within, there's something that is known about our service to humanity, service to the world, to the environment, and ultimately service to the creator behind everything. So that was Prabhupada, and we watched him look at a play that the devotees performed during the Sunday Feast program. We watched him chant. I even had the chance to cook for him. The first time I ever cooked dal, which is like lentils, I did for him. I was just kind of being ridiculously bold and maybe a little proud. And I was very scared to ask Prabhupada if he liked the dal, mung dal, which had the shells around it. And I was just too scared to ask. In fact, I was just a humble brahmachari, and Prabhupada had so many senior men around him. Many of them were sannyasis. And I wouldn't dare ask him a question. I was a shy guy, and I was just not up to the mark of asking him questions. But I would try, and I would listen to him. I would try. So in those days, we were working very hard. I remember I put in so many hours every day of service to the mission, sharing Krishna consciousness, helping in the kitchen, distributing Srila Prabhupada's books, leading kirtan, cleaning temples, etc., wherever I had ventured off to with a group of young men called brahmacharis. I was busy. And the first time I saw Prabhupada in Detroit, which would have been actually my second time seeing him, 75, on Jefferson Avenue, we had a rented building, house. And Prabhupada was sitting in the Vyasa, the high chair, where he spoke to the congregants. And I was actually very close to him, sitting near the chair, on an angle where I could get a perfect profile of him. And I was so exhausted. It was one of those hot, sultry, sunny days, humid and everything. And while the spiritual master of the universe was giving a class, I dared to nod out and fall asleep close to him. I'd just be listening. My body was very tired. And I'd just kind of like nod out. And then I would kind of open up and realize, this is a big offense. I can't let this happen. But my fatigue was overwhelming. So I kept doing it. And time was passing by very quickly. And so fast. And I said, I must pick up on a few things that Prabhupada is saying here. And I could not retain anything. I was too exhausted. And then finally at the end, I knew that the class was coming to a close. And he gave the perfect profile. It was like this. And he simply said, do not be proud. Okay. So I'll just remember that. Do not be proud. 4 words in a phrase. And I felt, okay, that's what I was supposed to hear. I will take that, I'll wrap it up, those phrases, I'll put it in my pocket, and I'll stuff it in my ear once in a while and try to keep it there and try to remember that one thing out of all the things he said. Do not be proud. So pride is the enemy of anyone who's endeavoring spiritually. And so I don't think I've been a good implementer of that message, but we simply have to try. We also met Prabhupada in Detroit the next year. He was very happy that we went from a rented building to a now purchased building, the Fisher Mansion, which was on the Detroit River. And a beautiful place. That same year, devotees in Toronto, Canada, bought a building which was an old church with Gothic features, very solid, situated on a major thoroughfare coming into the city, and which is just 1 kilometer from the legislative buildings, another kilometer from the big and famous castle in Canada called Casa Loma, and 2 blocks from the longest street in the world, and and then really hard. We didn't stop working. Really, and that's how we got the building. It's secure, and
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare.
I hope that I'm back on track.
Yes.
That you can hear me.
Yes, Maharaj,
Okay.
we can hear you now.
Thank you so much. So I have a lot of things to say, but my time is limited here. And what I can say about Srila Prabhupada was quite shocking when he left us, when he left this world. We didn't know how to handle it. We were all young, and Prabhupada was of a grandfather's age. So we didn't know how to take it and how to comprehend it. But what we lived through it, and we were also wondering how will the legacy carry on. So like in many spiritual traditions, when a charismatic and pure leader leaves the world, there's a little bit of chaos. There was some difficulty in, let's say, sparing the values that Prabhupada gave us. There was a power struggle among some of the leaders, and it was not so nice. But all along, and this shy guy here realized that, everything's in Krishna's hands here, in Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's hands. We're going to go through this. And an institution, a community of people, because we are humans, we will go through our ups and downs, As a community, we will sometimes drown in the difficulties and challenges. We'll sometimes rise up to the occasion and come across and experience great victories. And so that is my experience in the ISKCON movement. And Prabhupada is very kind. He gave me a name that I could kind of relate to. The first time I walked across Canada in '96, which was the 100th year, that he would have been 100 years had he been still with us. I was finishing on my first day walking in Canada on Vancouver Island, and it just hit me like a ton of bricks. Said, wow, Srila Prabhupada is so mystical. He gave me a name that meant everything for what I'm saying, for what I'm doing. And so Bhakti Marga, it means path of devotion. So I was just finishing my first days of walking, the first day actually. That was April the 12th, 1996. And it just dawned on me suddenly, oh my God, I can't believe it. All along, my Guru Maharaj, who knows so much, he knew that I was going to do my bhakti on the path. And so instead of walking for taking strides like that. I just did one of those little kicks in the air. Yay! What a great realization that Prabhupada knew what I was going to do as a service to him. So I had a chance to walk Guyana, and it was a great experience. I could never understand why people in Guyana say East Coast, West Coast. And I said, listen, you folks are wrong. I'm looking at a map. There's only one coast. It's the North Coast. I don't know what you're talking about here. West Coast, East Coast. This is ridiculous. So anyways, I never put up a big fight about it. But when I was nearing the end of walking on what you would call the East End, I was walking along a beach, and I accidentally stepped on a dead catfish, and it's known to have poison in its spine. And then, we crossed over a creek, which was very contaminated, and I don't think that helped out. So my foot turned into a football, like it got very big within 1 hour. And I remember my walk to Guyana, my times in Guyana were bittersweet. And that was kind of a bitter experience, but I overcame that because of the sweetness of all the devotees. Everybody's so nice down there. And the only thing is that what we need to work on is our cultivation of relationships. We need to simply be nice to each other, and we need not gossip. We need not give people a hard time and disregard. So I'm going to finish up with if I have the time. It's up to you, Bruce. You're calling the shots here. It seems that Sachit was calling the shots with these programs. Do I have a little time? Like 3 minutes?
Hare Krishna Maharaj, I think we can call it a wrap here, if that's okay with you.
Should I finish it right now?
Yes, Maharaj.
Okay, very good. Fair enough. So I'm looking forward to seeing you all. Then, with the pandemic on, it's not quite sure what's going to happen to all of us, but I wish you the very best in health and in spirit, and that we will all be able to come together and chant Haribol, Haribol, the way it should be. So thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Haribol. Thank you very much, Maharaj, for being so kind to be with us this evening and to share that wonderful poem in glorification of Srila Prabhupada, and also to share your personal association with Srila Prabhupada in his travels and so forth. So we're very grateful, and you've always been very dear to the devotees in this yatra here. So thank you very much for being with us once again. So at this point in time, we'll be hearing a few offerings, as Prabhupada mentioned earlier, the Vyasa Puja book that devotees would have put together many different offerings and put it in the book form that is offered to Srila Prabhupada. So we'll be hearing 2 such offerings from our Vyasa Puja book, as you can see here. So first of all, I'd like to introduce and invite His Grace Haridas Prabhu to read his offering that he would have compiled to Srila Prabhupada. So let's all welcome Haridas Prabhu as he's making his way forward. Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol.
Hare Krishna. ज्ञानतिमिरन्दस्य ज्ञानञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः मुखं करोति वाचालं पङ्गं लङ्घयति गिरिं यत्कृपणं वन्दे श्रीगुरुदीनतारिणम्. So before I get into reading my offering to Srila Prabhupada, first of all, I'd like to thank His Grace Prabhupada Deva Prabhu and his very competent team who have put together this Vyasa Puja book. Indeed, it created a forum that many of us can present our offerings. Generally, every year on Prabhupada Vyasa Puja, His Grace Paramatma Prabhu will be writing or compiling an offering on behalf of the entire Guyana Yatra. On this particular Vyasa Puja, we are having almost 125 offerings in this Vyasa Puja book of the many persons here in Guyana and I think few from the Caribbean and other places. But I must commend you, Prabhupada Deva Prabhu, for doing such a wonderful job. Certainly, we all would wish to express our sentiments, our heart's confession to His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada for what he has done for us, the contribution he has made within this world, the changes he has imparted in the hearts of all of us who have taken to this process sincerely. My dear Srila Prabhupada, please accept my most humble prostrated obeisances at the dust of your lotus feet. All glories to you. On this momentous occasion of your divine appearance within this material world, as we observe and celebrate a significant milestone of 125 years since your appearance, I can only think of how fortunate I am to receive your pure, unadulterated teachings that provide the goal and purpose of this human form of life, and the lifeline to be delivered from this world of perpetual sufferings. You are Lord Krishna's bona fide representative, coming in the line of disciplic succession. You are entrusted with the task of delivering the fallen conditioned souls who have lost their connection to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Sri Krishna, and out of ignorance and passion are madly going after illusory material pursuit. Certainly, you have done wonders towards this end to reclaim so many conditioned souls from all walks of life to such an extent that was never done before, and to the magnitude you have done. Once when you were asked, Swamiji, what miracles have you done? Since a person lacking proper knowledge and understanding thinks that one who is a saintly person, sadhu or yogi, should be able to perform some kind of miracle. In a very deliberate and confident way, you replied, can't you see? I am converting these hippies, chandalas, milichas, and yavanas into saintly persons. Can there be a better miracle than that? My dear Srila Prabhupada, my savior and benefactor, I'm eternally indebted to you for bringing me to light by proper and superior enlightenment, and for so compassionately giving me and all of us within this world an opportunity to render devotional service to Lord Krishna. Thereby, we can develop love for the Supreme Lord Krishna and eventually go back to the spiritual world, our eternal abode. O my Master and eternal guide, I sincerely pray that you grant me your special mercy and blessings, that I can be engaged in your mission in accordance with my limited ability, and by doing so, I can purify my material consciousness. Ultimately, I pray that my life can be worthy of the Lord's kind reciprocation, and I can be used in whatever way meaningful and pleasing to His devotees. This can only be made possible, Srila Prabhupada, by your grace. There cannot be any number of words that can fully describe your glories and achievements. And unlimitedly, I wish to express how I am eternally indebted to you for all you have given to me and the world at large. An unmatched spiritual treasure that can be found through your books, recorded lectures and conversations, and overall sublime transcendental teachings. My eternal gratitude to you, Srila Prabhupada, the most magnanimous personality of servant to Godhead, your most insignificant servant, Haridas. Hare Krishna.
Ki Jai, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. So thank you very much, Haridas Prabhu, for sharing that homage to Srila Prabhupada, for making that offering in the form of homage to Srila Prabhupada, and also for all the devotees here. So next we would like to invite Bhaktin Indrani Sukhdev, or Trisha Mataji as we say, to please come forward and make her offering to Srila Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna. Namaha Om Vishnu Paraya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namini Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharini Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshakarini Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurve Namah. Dearest Founder Acharya, Your Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, Savior of the whole world, kindly accept my heartfelt and respectful obeisances unto the dust of your lotus feet. All glories to your grace, all glories to their Lordship, Shri Shri Paramakaruna Nitai Gaura Chandra. On this most auspicious day of your 125th Vyasa Puja, I would like to wish you a happy appearance day, a most important day in all of our lives. Kindly accept my respects and reverence unto your lotus feet. Srila Prabhupada, one cannot begin to articulate even a tinge of your magnanimous contribution to this entire planet Earth. Nor can anyone begin to measure the impact of your presentation of Krishna consciousness to all those that came in contact with you, your paraphernalia, and your wonderful disciples. This insignificant servant can, however, express the deepest heartfelt gratitude unto your lotus feet as a small token and offering on this wonderful day. Thank you so much for taking the words of your spiritual master seriously and with rigid faith in Krishna and determination. You so kindly brought Krishna consciousness to the West. Thank you for delivering the method by which we can all be saved. And thank you for patiently explaining it all and teaching by your pure example. You have created a home in which we can all live under one roof, as one huge family, a home called ISKCON, a home that defines real world peace, and it's the real United Nations, just as how you would have wanted. Thank you for giving us a process to reunite with our sweet Lord, and for giving us a glimpse of what the spiritual world is like. Thank you, dear Prabhupada, for making me who I am today and for allowing this fallen soul to be able to engage in the service of Krishna. Your Divine Grace and all the lovely Vaishnavas, kindly bless me with your cooling glance so that I can become at least a fraction of what it really means to be a servant of the servants. Your aspiring servant, Indrani Sukhdev. Thank you.
Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai, Hare Krishna. So thank you very much, Trisha Mataji, for making that offering of gratitude to Srila Prabhupada. And so at this point in time, we were supposed to have a presentation by His Holiness Bhakti Vasudev Maharaj. Maharaj is currently in Sridham, Mayapur, but we haven't seen him join the meeting as yet, join the program. But nevertheless, we're going to have the final kirtan for this evening's session. And just in case Maharaj comes on during the course of the kirtan, we'll pause the kirtan to hear from Maharaj. So we'd like to invite the kirtaners to please come on stage as we can all join in beautiful kirtan, calling out on the holy names of the Lord.
Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashtatyadeshatarine. Everyone together. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasari Gaura Bhakta Hare Krishna
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
everyone.
Krishna, Hare
Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada. Nindai Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Gaur Hari Bol, Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nindai Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Gaur Hari Bol, Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Gaur Hari Bol. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki. Srila Prabhupada 125th anniversary ki. So I'd like to take this opportunity to thank each and every one of you to being here with us, and also to apologize that we weren't able to connect with His Holiness Bhakti Vasudev Maharaj, who is in our ISKCON World Headquarters in Mayapur. But nevertheless, this evening means a lot for us because tomorrow we have quite a bit to put together. Even from now, preparation is going on. So we'll humbly request as much as possible all the devotees and every one of you who are present here. We need quite a bit of self-help or volunteers to put together our activities for tomorrow. So we'll be inviting everyone to take prasadam, and after prasadam there will be quite some activities, cutting up vegetables and making still a lot of preparations are being put in place for tomorrow's activities. We also humbly request everyone to respect the guidelines that would have sent out, and to note that those who are invited and already confirmed for tomorrow, those are the persons we are expecting to come to be here at the temple tomorrow. Actually, we already exceeded the amount of guests that we're supposed to have at one go in the temple, and it will be quite something for the managers, because the challenging part is that the Minister of Health will be here tomorrow. So we'll have to see. We'll have to see what, how good we really deal with everything. And if some outsiders, someone outside of who we would have confirmed comes, of course we cannot turn anyone away from the temple. So what it will mean is that we'll have to ask some devotees maybe to, sit under the tents. There will be some chairs under the tent. Hopefully the boys can set up. But nevertheless, for your information, the program here will be live on 3 television stations, NCN, E-Networks channel, I think some E3 or something. Some E3 channel or something like that is said, E-Networks, and also on channel 28, TVG, Guyana, that will be from 10:30 to 12:15. The program will be here live on television. Encourage all your relatives, friends, neighbors, everyone can join in to honor Srila Prabhupada. Tomorrow will be a special day that the President for the country and many other dignitaries will be coming here to honor Srila Prabhupada and to celebrate the 125th anniversary. It will be a special special offering to Srila Prabhupada, and we can all pray that more and more the blessings and the mercy of Srila Prabhupada will go far and wide, and that his blessings will reach everyone or every nook and corner of this country. If everyone switch on their television, or those of you who have us on Zoom, YouTube, or Facebook, and now the link that Hari Kirtan sent out for all those three platforms as we live stream is just one click on your cell phone, and you can just choose if you want Zoom, if you want Facebook, or if you want YouTube. And then, you can be in the comfort of your homes. And then, so that's tomorrow activities. Monday is kind of celebrating Janmastami. Of course, the regular Hindu Panditai calendar have Janmastami for tomorrow. So you're having 2 Janmastami celebration this year. So generally, more the merrier, right? People don't complain when they get more. Unless it is devotional service, then they complain. But generally in material, so more the merrier. 2-day Janmastami. So on Monday, we'll be inviting you here. We invite everyone from Mangalarti from 6 a.m. in the morning, then 12 noon, midday arti, and then throughout the day there will be so many artis and offerings and different services and giving out bhojan and sweets and prasadam for the whole day. And then in the evening, devotees will be coming and going throughout the evening. The main program will be from 4:30 to 6:30, and then from 7 to 8:30 in the night will be the main programs. Otherwise, Janmastami is till midnight. So to give you a midnight treat also, that is there, but you will have to stay over in the temple. So we are making preparation that those of you who will be here from 10 onwards, the gate will close. You will have enough facility to stay and wake next morning. If you will sleep, you will wake next morning to attend Srila Prabhupada 125th anniversary Mangal Arti at 6 a.m. and then engage in all the other activities and preparing for the Maha Vyasa Puja celebration on the Tuesday the 31st, which will mark the actual day that 125th anniversary of Srila Prabhupada. So these are some of the activities that you're entitled for. So I'll still urge everyone, don't take it for granted that on Vyasa Puja Day we will have over 100 people in the temple. There is no way. Right? So don't take it for granted. So I'll humbly request, and Janmastami Day also. So please call in. We give a number on the WhatsApp flyer that we would have sent out. Please call in and confirm you want to come physically to be here and participate. And if we reach a limit, we'll have to say, sorry, Prabhu or Mataji, we cannot, it's COVID-19, and it's beyond our control with whatever is happening. We cannot risk anything here at the temple. So we humbly request everyone's cooperation, we humbly request everyone's understanding. If someone also has some contributions to give towards the 5 days festivities, you are more than welcome. There are so many areas that you can offer your service to Sri Sri Paramakanitai Gaura Chandra and in the 4 days celebration to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you all very much. Srila Prabhupada Ki! Srila Prabhupada 125th anniversary Ki! So there is a sound, So we can all go for prasadam. Our regular prasadam hall is closed. Prepare for the VIP lunch tomorrow. So we'll take you and give you a little treat in the open air, just on the sidewalk, the yard, courtyard of the temple here. So you go down this step, you make a right, and another right, and you go right up to the end of the fence, and the devotees will be there gladly and happily ready to serve you. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Everyone, Hare Krishna.